Hello, everyone. We're gonna try something different now, and we're gonna do more of a podcast type of thing. So, I have Archon with me today. Say hello.
Shitlords.
Yeah. So we thought about talking about three different topics. It's the Neogaf thing, it's the Cuphead thing, and now today seeing it trending everywhere is basically Kevin Spacey being accused of being a pedophile, I guess.
Not necessarily pedophile, just assaulting a child. Apparently, he got drunk at a party or something like that and sexually assaulted a 14-year-old. So that's interesting.
I can read the actual statement he gave out on Twitter.
Okay.
If you're
Yeah, because
willing to.
yeah, because my basic understanding of the situation was, and I haven't read anything that he stated in defense of it, but from what I've seen of the people that are getting angry at him, is basically like the you should have known better. You shouldn't have gotten drunk if you knew you were gonna fucking attack a kid or something. And it's just kind of like I don't see any evidence that he actually did attack this kid unless he admitted to it. So it's like, how about we just chill and just take a step back for a minute here, like just not freak out.
Yeah, let me read this one out. It's basically Anthony Rapp who has been was accused Kevin Spacey. Here's his statement. I have a lot of respect and admiration for Anthony Rapp as an actor. I'm beyond horrified to hear his story, and I honestly do not remember the encounter. It would have been over 30 years ago, but if I did behave then as he describes, I owe him the sincerest apology for what would have been deeply inappropriate drunken behavior, and I am sorry for the feelings he describes having carried with him all these years. This story has encouraged me to address other things about my life. I know that there are stories out there about me and that somehow have been fueled by the fact that I have been so protective of my privacy. As those closest to me know, in my life I have had relationships with both men and women. I have loved and had romantic encounters with men throughout my life, and I choose now to live as a gay man. I want to deal with this honestly and openly, and that starts with examining my own behavior. Kevin Spacey. Science Kevin Spacey.
Okay. So he didn't admit to it. However, you could probably draw a conclusion that it's very likely it did happen because he's talking about how he needs to look at his own behavior and shit. However, again, we don't have any conclusive evidence. We literally just have this testimony from this person saying that he did this. And it's over 30 fucking years ago. So it's very unlikely we're going to have any actual conclusive evidence that he did do this.
Well, according
So
to
people that are
Anthony Rapp, he was kind of drunk, and I mean, it's 30 years ago, and I mean, why do this now?
right. And like again, it's 30 years ago, and like I'm sure the times were different then, but this is another like major reason why kids aren't supposed to be around alcohol. And like I'm not even trying to say, oh, it's his fault that he got assaulted, because we don't even know if he was or not. We don't have any evidence to back this up. But it's like this is why people aren't as introduced or like near alcohol when they're at young ages, because stupid shit happens. And I mean, if he's around people that are getting that fucking plastered back in those days, there's a good chance that back in those days they didn't have the quite the same like hands off approach on the alcohol thing or the strict requirements. So there's a good likelihood he may have been drunk back then too. And if he was drunk, then like how can you fully recount your case of events of what happened? How do you absolutely know that what you say happened? But we don't even know if he was fucking drunk or not back then because it was 30 fucking years ago.
Yeah, and there's I said this on Twitter all day. I mean, there is no evidence of this at all. I mean, people are so quick to just name do the blame game and just
Yeah.
he's just the worst person ever. Look, Yeah, if all of this is true, that's fucking horrible. Even though it's 30 years ago, it's still fucking horrible. But looking at it now, I look at myself and Archon as well as rational people, and so far there is no evidence to the contrary that this is true. And Kevin Spacey doesn't admit to remembering this. I mean, so there's no proof of this in a court of law, and nothing to back this up. So
Yeah, it's literally people just getting angry over something in part of public opinions, and then basically going after him for it. And it's just I don't understand what people are hoping to get from doing that. Besides, like we're going to get him fired. That's literally all you could hope to get from doing this in the court of public opinions instead of actually trying to press charges. Which, even if you did press charges, I highly doubt it would get anywhere because it's been so fucking long. So like. But it's like when you get to the point where all you can do is get someone fired, and you don't even have enough evidence to press charges on him. But you think you have enough evidence to get someone fired? Like that's just. I'm trying to think of the word off the top of my head. That is just irresponsible.
yeah. And House of Cards has been cancelled as because of these allegations. I'm seeing also House of Cards trending on Twitter right now, and it's been cancelled as.
Yep.
So, I mean, I think this is an overreaction, to be honest.
Yeah, I have a feeling that this probably didn't actually happen, but we don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. We don't know, and unless I see any compelling evidence, I just think that this didn't happen, and I mean, this same type of stuff didn't happen to George Clooney, who was also accused of sexually harassing people, but he felt nothing of the same type of like outrage. I mean, it's a kind of selective outrage if you ask me.
Yeah.
I mean, now you have all the conservatives coming out and saying, "Oh, Hollywood is all toxic and filled with predators and all that type of stuff." I mean, so far as I know, none of these people who have been accused have been sentenced to anything. The only thing that's come out of this is Harvey Weinstein. Basically, doing 1 week of what a rehabilitation or something.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I don't know what to think of this. So, do you want to switch topics?
Sure.
The next one is, I mean, I've been seeing this all over the place. I've seen Cuphead, especially, being accused of being ableist and racist.
Wow.
Ooh. Yeah. Well, let's start with your thoughts.
I guess I have to ask, what exactly do they mean by it's ableist and racist? The racism, I don't even know where the fuck that's coming from. The ableism, I can only assume it comes out of the fact of the get good scrub. You can't even jump a fucking platform in the tutorial, you piece of shit. And it's just like, dude, it's a simple jumping game. Like back in the 80s when Mario first came out, it was all just jumping. It was all platforming, and people had no problems doing that. So you have no excuse.
I mean, I've seen. I can't. I'm gonna put them in the description if I find them, but there are articles that have said that these types of games are basically holding people who have difficulties, whatever. Basically speaking for on behalf of other people and being outraged for other people, and then we have people who are like disabled and doing very well, like in the fighting community or something like that. The guy who basically plays the controller with his face, he rips
Yeah,
people.
I was just gonna bring that up. Isn't there a guy that plays like Tekken with his tongue?
Yeah, bony legs or whatever. And there are other
Yeah.
amazing gamers. They would kick my ass in any game of their choosing, because they're amazing at those games, and those people or those SJWs basically just get outraged on behalf of these people, and they have to label a game racist.
Right. What's the racism coming out of then? Because I don't even understand where the fuck that would come out of.
Because it's 1930s cartoon.
Oh, because of the 1930s cartoony style stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, it's yeah. I can read a few quotes from it's from one angry gamer.
Sure.
It's from Not Your Mama's Gamer. It's from a website. Seeing the trailer for the game this week elicited a visceral reaction in me. It made me feel physically ill. I got queasy and my head swam a bit. It was one of those moments when you are sure that your blood pressure has shot up to 20 or 30 points. A true what the F moment. I kept waiting for the other shoe to drop. I kept waiting for the next boss to be a thick-lipped, black-faced, spittle-dripping caricature of an African-American man, probably holding aloft a terrified, screaming blonde Caucasian woman just to show what a threat he actually was. And looking back at the trailer for the game that was shown at last year's E3, we see that the devil who is after the souls of our heroes, Cuphead and Mugman, is strangely reminiscent of caricature, and be that this year's trailer devil was grayscale, so the color is unclear with the pronounced lips. Racism, misogyny, I mean, all the signs are there. This is all uncalled for in 2017. Current year. White protagonist that saves the day from brown skinned devil. Female chalice figure needs to be saved from the masculine hero. A damsel in distress, your fight and kill an Arabic figure genie. This is racist and uncalled for. There's more, but I don't think I need to point them out with these three things.
Right. Yeah, literally, it's more of the same. Hashtag literally shaking. I was literally shaking. That it was this racist. Oh, fuck off. Yeah, this stupid shit.
Yeah, we're recording now, haha. So we're recording a podcast. So, if you have anything you wanna add, so just jump in. Yeah, so it's basically just outrage for outrage's sake. So there's a boss who's a devil who's black, who's basically just yeah, he's supposedly racist or something, some shit like that. Hey, Thoughtful Salt, we're recording a podcast. Everyone's coming in now.
They want to see what all the fun is about.
Yeah, probably. And yeah, so the entire outrage about this. I mean, there's a really good video from Alpha Mega Sin on this topic. But every like Anita Sarkeesian said, everything is racist, everything is sexist, and they have to point it all out. Like,
can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. Yeah. What she said, absolute crud. Absolute crud.
Yeah, we're talking about the Cuphead thing. I don't know if you have heard about the whole allegations of that game being racist and ableist.
Oh, it's just because it's in 1930s art style. Ooh.
Exactly. Exactly. So.
Well, we might as well ban all forms of entertainment, since at some point every form of entertainment has been used to depict something racist.
Yeah, and
pretty much.
So we might as well, just in case some random minority somewhere should be offended,
Yeah, I mean, people can look at the picture in the article and judge for themselves. It's basically just a cartoonish black character, but it doesn't look like a human. Like, come on.
So basically, it's like a Mr. Popo.
Not even that. It's you can click on the article, and or it's even on the thumbnail of the article. You can see the character on the left hand side. It's basically like a devilish character. So, yeah, yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, evil characters in fiction have been depicted as like pitch black in a lot of areas of work. That doesn't necessarily mean someone will immediately go, "Oh, that must mean black people are evil."
Yeah, but following that logic, Cuphead would also be a black person.
Yeah, I guess they would. I mean, is that a shirt or no? I guess they're black.
Yeah.
Huh.
The gloves are white.
But the only thing that disturbed me about Cuphead was are their brains sloshing out of their heads?
Oh yeah,
all the time?
They're coffee brains.
Yeah, but going by that logic, I mean, what is Cuphead then? If the devil here is black, doesn't that make, according to their logic, the same? I mean, that would mean Cuphead is a black as well.
Well, I mean, if you go look at a lot of cartoons from the 1930s, and I can speak on some level of like authority here because, well, I've been watching a lot of those cartoons, and there were a lot of racist cartoons and caricatures and stuff. I mean, there was that infamous Looney Tunes cartoon where Elmer Fudd was swapped out with a black person. It was drawn in just that manner, the one manner that automatically screams racist when you look at it. And there were a lot of racist cartoons back then, but it's not because of the art style or anything. It's just people genuinely viewed black people as the only way they could depict them in that way back then. But most cartoons, I'm happy to say, weren't that awful and racist and stuff. But there were a few.
I mean, I would say it's more ignorance.
Ignorance. Because, it depends really on the cartoon you're looking at. I mean, that one Bugs Bunny versus Elmer Fudd / black guy, that was kind of racist back in the day. But
yeah, of course, there are instances where there's actual racism, but I'm speaking broader terms. That I think generally it's just ignorance.
Yeah.
All right. Do we want to move on to the last topic, which is probably the biggest one? Any last thoughts?
Nope.
All right. Let's move on to the big one, which is Neogaf.
You mean Neofag?
I'll let each one of you just rant about it a little bit. I thought while you were a little bit gleeful. Let's start with you.
Oh no! I just remember them being deliberately very, very how shall I say it, cunty towards Boogie. And all I can say in regards to that is, you're hypocrites all along. The very top of your management was a hypocrite. And here's the thing: after he was caught, after all these allegations were made and stuff, he made a statement on the Monday after, and that basically said, "Oh, don't believe her, she's crazy." So he immediately went from listen and believe to don't listen to her, don't believe her. So it's all hypocrites all the time, and I really, really just hate ideological purity in any form, because any ideology that gets too quote unquote pure just devolves into tyranny, because you won't tolerate any other modes of opinion or thought. So you'll just end up banning, or in extreme cases in government situations, as in communism or fascism, killing people you disagree with. So there we go.
Or you just drink the Kool-Aid and then you kill yourselves.
Arkham, what are your thoughts on the whole Neogaf?
Good riddance, because fuck Neofag. I didn't really have any interactions with them, so I don't have any specific hatreds for them. But it's just that it's more of what he was saying, the hypocrisy is just palpable. As soon as the accusation came out and you actually read through the accusation, it's just wow. It's just more of the same shit from this side. They just keep stooping even lower than we thought that they would do before. It's just pathetic.
I mean, there's a beautiful word in German called Schadenfreude. Which
Schadenfreude?
Schadenfreude, yeah.
Yeah, basically having fun of someone else's misery, for those who don't know what it is. And all during Gamergate, they were the ones accusing us of doing all this shit. And Lord and behold, it's the guy who's accusing everyone else of doing this shit, who is guilty himself. So it's funny that. So during the last 3 years, the board was all about progressivism and all this. I would recommend there's a documentary which not a lot of people know of. I would recommend everyone to watch it. It's on Game Trailers. It's basically I think it's like 45 minutes long. Going on both sides on the entire Neogaf situation. I think it was made like 5 or 6 years ago, before even Gamergate existed. And it shows a lot of people, even back then, had a whole lot of resentment towards Neogaf and how they ran their forum, because all the time there were leaks who basically screwed with I mean, I'm all for the consumer all the time, but when it comes to like these leaks that don't really serve anything but to give them attention, and basically sometimes these big companies have to make whole new strategy for releasing their games, because they release like an hour of gameplay of some videos. They did that with Dark Souls 2, I believe. Dark Souls 1 or 2. So that forum, for all intents and purposes, in my opinion, is cancer. And I saw something on Twitter. What was it? Today, I think, or it was either today or yesterday, where Neogaf was back to its old business, so to speak, is where they basically people were bitching and complaining about Quiet in Metal Gear Solid 5, and one guy said Quiet was cool and all sorts of things, and he got accused of being a misogynist and a mansplaining.
Yep.
So,
I remember that. I mean, if you look at Quiet as a character, she's quite clearly ridiculous. But I think that's the point of those games. They go so over the top in tone and stuff that it almost makes everything in a weird way have this air of verisimilitude. Like
Right.
the insanity basically justifies itself against the insanity of Cold War thoughts. And, the whole nuclear war that was hanging over our heads during the Cold War. Basically, I think it's almost like it meant to be a mirror of all that insanity. So, in a sense, you can make the case that Quiet and all the other weird shit that Hideo Kojima did in the Metal Gear Solid games was kind of perfect in terms of its metaphors and stuff.
Well, I just find the whole situation with the Neogaf, like the documentary you were talking about, how it goes back years and years. That's not surprising in the fucking slightest, because that shit takes a while to get like rooted in. When something like that is just so like strong, it's just such a heavy-handed thing they do. They don't even have to hide it. They can just be like, "No, you banned." That's something that takes time to set in, because at first, like if it was anything worth a damn at first, then it had to creep in. But I think it was like that from the beginning, so that doesn't surprise me in the slightest.
yeah, there has to be a culture that has manifested itself over time, and being the owner, he has certain political views. I mean, when all the people try to migrate from Neogaf, I saw them on a few forums like IGN. Everyone didn't want them at all. They were basically making demands of, oh, we can't talk about these sort of games, and we have to talk about this, and another one like, no, fuck off. These are our forums. You can take that shit somewhere else. Like,
Speaking of, if you got any like screen caps or anything of that, I would very much appreciate those.
yeah. Actually have a thread. I can link it. It's from the Easy Allies forum. Let's see if because they were they some of them came over there, and now they have the, what is it, reset era or whatever it's called, and they were basically trying to.
Can I draw a parallel for a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
Do it.
Everyone knows about how much the Escapist has gone downhill ever since Gamergate started, right?
Oh yeah.
Right. Well, the parallel is Gamergate has such a diverse like spread of opinions and stuff, and anyone who does serious research into the topic knows that. So Neogaf was only successful because it had that one niche that fit that well into that one area, so everyone could like look at Neogaf and go like, yeah, there's all the extreme radical leftists, and like be convincing about it. Gamergate, unfortunately, didn't have like a niche enough like area of concentration, so you had the whole community spread all over. So if it almost like draws a bad parallel between the Escapists and Neogaf. Neogaf remained successful, yet the Escapists went downhill. Even its forums have gone like down the path of like joining recently the SJW side, because, well, there's not enough Gamergaters focusing in certain areas for them to be successful at all. That's weird. Sad too, because I remember Yahtzee Croshaw being pretty good about us. Sorry, was that too long-winded?
No, I think so. Enderdal's just thinking of something to say in regards to that.
No, it's just I was just going through the I just posted the topic, and I just want to read through the 3 comments I posted, and I posted, I think Neogaf has some of the worst community on the internet, and that's no thanks. And then I said, sorry, I was condemned by the entire forum, and discussion was banned just because I posted in a certain hashtag. Even had a friend, Norwegian guy, who actually got banned, who was part of that for 10 years, getting banned for just questioning some things. So no thanks. Neogaf belongs to be burned down to the ground. I can't be forgiving to people who have compared me to the bad guys in Wolfenstein, or said I just hate one gender outright for no reason at all. Sorry. That was my response to the guy. So I have no interest in talking to those people who basically called every one of us for racists and.
Well, that reckoning is going to have to come sooner or later. I mean, anyone who's in the GG Historia Discord knows that. Well, we have to start the conversation in some fashion and bring it more towards bring the conversation towards Gamergate was evil to Gamergate was completely misunderstood from the start.
Yeah. Someone has to expose the hidden Nazis in Neogaf.
I mean, I'm open to discussing with them like on a stream or something, but I have no I don't want to go to their forums and build bridges there. I mean, other people.
Well, you can't even build bridges there because it's basically like trying to build a house on sand. You build something up and then you just get banned, and then it's like, okay, well, I guess that's gone.
Yeah, basically.
At this point, there's not much hope in trying to get people to understand GG. Really, you're better off just teaching people about the problems among the far left SJWs rather than trying to make people think that GG is a good thing or that GG people are good guys, because that's not really the whole point of GG anyways.
Yeah, that's true.
No, I'm speaking for posterity. In the future, in like say 50 years, someone looks back and tries to research Gamergate. I think if you just have all the facts out there and you have a presentable resource and stuff, the conversation will shift. In 50 years, Gamergate won't be seen as this misogynist hate movement. I can guarantee you that. Or it shouldn't be, at the very least.
Well, that's probably because all the people that are saying that Gamergate is evil will probably have suicided by the time that Trump's presidency has ended.
5, 6, 7 more years, people.
Yeah. 7 more years. 7 more years.
Yeah, I mean,
I was watching. I only say that because I was watching a documentary last night about how Trump won the election, and I was like, "How the fuck did this guy win? All the stupid shit he said, all the stupid shit he did, and he won? Wow, that takes chutzpah."
yeah, but I've
Take this, boy.
I've seen all these articles. I think the last week, blaming like Gamergate is on basically was the rise of the alt right, which is a lot of horseshit. And I've also seen like South Park even being accused of being a breeding ground for the alt right. Like, what the fuck?
Anything that disagrees with me is alt right.
Mm-hmm. You're a Nazi.
Like, even slightly, you could like say, "Well, I'm not in favor of like accused rapists not getting a fair trial," and it's like, "You're alt right. You're alt right.
Yeah,
You're never,
Yeah,
you're never
go
right,
put
but
your
you're alt
fucking
right."
"Don't tread on me" flag up, faggot.
Yeah, we talked about that briefly earlier regarding the whole Kevin Spacey thing. Like, we talked about like give the man if he's guilty, he should stand trial and see if he's guilty. But so far we don't know anything, and I'm gonna probably
Well, there's probably a statute of limitations. I mean, it did happen 30 years ago.
yeah, exactly.
But
the
also,
point is-
what do we do with his performances now? Like, do we just forget that he made awesome performances in the movies and television shows before this? Like,
Same thing that happened
what
with
do you
Bill
do?
Cosby. Just do the same thing as Bill Cosby. Just ignore it and just ignore it ever happened. Because he's evil now. He's a Nazi.
The point of it was like I'm probably gonna be labeled a rape apologist or every one of us because we're a little bit skeptical of just someone right out of the blue just accusing a guy of sexually harassing or sexually assaulting him over 30 years ago. Like a little bit of suspicious of someone just to do that. So. I mean, that's the whole thing of Gamergate being critical of people who are basically shitting on gamers in general.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the whole reason Gamergate started in the first place, and it's
Well, you have this NBC video basically saying, "Oh, Gamergate sent these texts. We even edited this tweet to say Gamergate on it, even though it didn't have Gamergate on it beforehand." The only correlation that anyone can actually prove in terms of Gamergate with these threats is timing. That's it. No one can say, "Oh, this definitely was a Gamergater that sent this." No one can say that because they don't know. It was all just anonymous BS trolls or whatever sending these threats, and I fucking condemn them too. I wish they were caught. I wish they were hung from the highest pole in the tree. But when people look back on this in 10 years and look at the facts, it's like, oh, geez, we really can't figure out who actually sent these tweets. We really shouldn't have made enemies of people just by blaming them for it.
yeah. I mean,
Sorry.
yeah, but the only one who could probably be linked to us was Seattle for Truth. Like he was so, like.
But he was insane to begin with, though.
Yeah.
So, and everyone in GG knew it, unless they were just being willfully ignorant.
Yeah, I don't think I ever. I don't know if I ever was in a stream. I might have been in one stream with him, but I was also.
There is just Seattle for Truth and Amorphosis. That's about it.
Yeah, I've been in a few streams with him, but it's mainly just like fucking with him streams just to get a laugh at him. So it's like whatever. But like beyond people that like bought what he actually was trying to sell, like all of his conspiracies and shit, those people are the only people that didn't think he was loony. Everyone else pretty much knew he was a loony.
Yeah,
That's why when that shit
we
went down.
we insult these people like without end. We call them cucks, we call them retards, we call them whatever we want because you can insult people over the web without it being harassment. But people who send the death threats and stuff, like no one has been able to trace that to anybody. Even the people who sent death threats against the SPJ conference back when there were like 40 people in the room and stuff, no one's been able to find them.
Right. Yeah, and the shit that like bugs the hell out of me is all these people that were on Twitter when Seattle for Truth went nuts and killed his dad. And they're like, "Oh my god, he really did this?" And I'm like, "Are you honestly fucking surprised? He was insane. Like, he believed the most crazy bullshit conspiracies. and you're surprised he went just a little bit further.
Yeah, I mean,
A little bit further compared to what?
I mean, he was hanging out with Ralph, who fucking punched a police officer.
Did he go to jail for that?
Yeah, he's in jail.
I think he did. Yeah,
he's in jail right now.
So the Ralph retort is gone now? Is that what you're saying?
No, not the site. I think his wife or girlfriend or whatever is running it right now. But he's in. I think he's in jail right now for like 2 years or something, 3 years.
Why would you do that, you dumbass?
Because he's an idiot, and he's blaming on being drunk and an idiot. But like, honestly, I don't think he needs to be drunk to be that stupid. He's already dumb.
Well, let's not.
I mean, if you could point to one person in Gamergate and say, well, there's the extremist Gamergate. I guess Ethan Ralph was kind of the closest you could actually get to someone who was going like, oh no,
true,
we're extreme and stuff. We're so edgy.
Yeah, I mean,
but beyond that, no one's been able to prove anything. So
true, but
yeah.
he was basically thrown out, and he spurred his way out of Gamergate when people called his doxing and unethical shit out. So.
Well, here's the thing. It doesn't matter. Anybody who posts Gamergate on their hashtag automatically represents everyone in Gamergate. Don't you know, you right-wing shitlord?
Yeah, that's... yeah, I know they like to use the collectivist fallacy, so... Should have known that. But yeah, I mean, it's been 3 long fucking years of this stuff. And whenever I see an article with this like written on it, like Cuphead is racist, or like Neogaf burns to the ground, like, oh, okay, good fucking riddance. I'm not even shocked anymore, because this stuff happens so much. And all these these male feminists that are getting accused of, some of them even convicted of rape and sexually assaulting women, like, doesn't surprise me at all either.
Keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer.
Well, that's what...
And your traps closest.
True. Yeah, so this was more of a test run. So do you guys have any final thoughts on this? Otherwise, I'm just gonna stop the recording here. Anything you want to shell or anything?
No, not really.
No, you know what shit? Game reviews. Giving all these like perfect hundreds to Super Mario Odyssey. And you look back and like these same game reviewers will probably give 100 to fucking Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. And then you have these guys defending them by saying, well, not every reviewer can know that these games would have been bad like a couple years from the future. Bullshit. You can look at something objectively and say, okay, this might be a problem. God damn it.
That was kind of my argument a few days, I think 2 days ago, between me and Shin. But
look at that fucking Jim Sterling when he gave what was it, Phantom Pain, like 10 out of 10 or something. It's like he said there are no filler missions. And I'm like laughing. I'm like, you idiot! Did you even play the game? Half the content is repeating the same missions over and over again.
Yep.
Oh my god, game reviewers are shit.
Yeah,
Sterling's always been shit, really.
Yeah, true. But my point was kind of with Shin, we had an argument back and forth. He said that Super Mario, or the new Odyssey game, was getting high reviews, and I'm like, I'm not really fond of Nintendo games. I haven't owned a console since the N64, and I don't see personally the appeal, and I think they're overrated. And he kind of spurred it a little bit out. I, of course, I'm autistic as fuck, didn't back down. But the point I was trying to make is that it's the same reviewers that give COD a 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 each fucking year, that are giving the same review scores to the other games. So I'm not too fond and are relying on these same reviewers.
And people ask me, why does it matter? Why does it matter that you're criticizing game reviews and stuff? It's a cultural thing. Do you want to be known Do you want to be in the same camp as those reviewers in Rolling Stone in the early 80s when they basically panned every single heavy metal and rap album that ever came out? Do you want to be like those people? Do you want to be like the Oscar voters who gave the greatest show on earth, Best Picture way back in 1955? Do you want to be those people? Come on.
Well, see, I don't even understand why people even give a shit about reviews, because I'm to the point where I don't care whether they review a good game badly or a bad game well. I really don't care, because it's just kind of like it's a subjective thing.
Exactly.
People are gonna like different things, so it's like, why do you give a shit what a handful of people think about a game when you could feel something completely differently?
That was my point. Game opinions are subjective. So if someone's gonna tell me you have to like Super Mario, I'm like, no, I don't have to like shit.
Oh,
It's my subjective.
oh, one more thing relating to this. I'm reading this book, Haters, by Bailey Poland. It is howling. It is howlingly like hilarious. Like there's this
That's
section
just
where
like
she's
your
talking
opinion, man.
she's talking about game reviewers, and she basically says, "Well, game reviewers and games media don't need to practice ethical concerns because they're enthusiast press. Therefore, they don't need ethics."
Right.
That's her argument. That's her entire argument, basically. Oh, they don't need ethics because they're enthusiast press.
Stupid.
I'm going to tear this book apart in a podcast later on. I don't care what it takes. I bought a copy of the book just so I could have it permanently.
Yeah, but that was also kind of my point. Like, you should look at games. Look for a random streamer just playing the game, and if you like what you see, buy the game, and never ever pre-order.
Or you could torrent it.
Huh?
Or you could torrent it.
Oh,
Yeah, it depends.
or that, but I still think you should support the developer if you like the game. So I don't torrent game. I buy them, but I usually don't buy games new. I usually get them later because there's no reason to buy pre-order games at all. So yeah, I think that's a good note to leave it off. Anything? Any last words?
Nope.
All right, I'm gonna start the recording here. Thank you guys for watching, and see you guys next time. Bye.